I would imagine that many folks, that you have a very good chance that that you suffered food loss. You know what I mean? That your fridge and freezer, that you ran out of patience or time or ability to keep replacing the food that was ruined with ice. In my instance, I was, outmanned, outnumbered, and it was just me. My wife and daughter had to leave that night of the power loss and the storm. And I came on the show that night, just before I was talking to my insurance company and verifying, the food loss and verifying that they would pay for a hotel, which they do on both. Although one of them said today, that's not your policy. I'm like, your people told me it was. I just checked. It's all like, no. I even reviewed hotels, and she's like, just don't go to a luxury, $500 a night. I'm like, no. But, so that's going to be an issue with them. That's not going to play. But the food loss is what I want to focus on. Here's what's I love these kinds of things because you and I have gone through them together, and we've seen a lot. So I put out on my social media feeds, on my Twitter and on my Facebook, you can see them at Chris Crock Show for both ChrisKrok. And you should follow me. Everything we play on the air for the most part is on my Twitter feed as well. Some of it's on my Facebook feed. But the Tom Thumb that we go to by my house is the power was out, and literally they threw out everything in the meat section, everything in the dairy and egg, like everything that was perishable, produce, all of it thrown away. And so it looked like a third world, Russia, what do you call it, Soviet Russia grocery store. Do you want bread or no bread? Oh, sorry, there's no meat this week. That kind of stuff. And then when I went in this is crazy. My power did not come back on until Friday at midnight, roughly, right around there. And I was not about to go to the hotel at midnight after the show and check out, pack up for an hour and check out 1:30 or 2 in the morning. That's not happening. No, you're already being charged. So I slept in for the first time that week, rushing back to my house every day. But to spare you the long story, many of us either lived in a place without power or we every hotel I tried was booked up, so I had to go to different ones. But the point being, I had to look for many of them to find the right one for the whole time. The point being is my food loss, after a couple days, the ice wore off, and I'm not staying there because the power is out. And there's no internet. No, I couldn't even do good contacts through my cell phone. So I'd come home every day and check everything. But the point is the food ended up spoiling, obviously, after 4 days, 4 nights. So my insurance company pays for it all. But when I went to Tom Thumb the first time, about 3 days, a day, the day after my power got back, on Saturday afternoon, I think it was, or Saturday late, the guy at the cashier's place told me, he said, I didn't tell him about how much I lost. He goes, yeah, I lost everything in my fridge. And he said it was $80 worth of stuff. And that was a big loss for him as a clerk, a cashier or whatever. And this guy works hard. I see him all the time. He's not, when you work in the grocery industry, you're working hard. And if you're not, it's a job where you're on your feet. It's thankless and stressful a lot, I would assume. My son actually did the same thing at the same place years ago. It was his first job as a bagger and then a cashier. But my point is that loss for $80 was serious to him. And I told him I wasn't rubbing anything in, but I said, I caveated with, because he's a single man, apparently. I got a family of 4, so 8 times 4 would be $320. You know what I mean? So, I wasn't too far off. I said, I think I lost, $500 worth, because we had just gone grocery shopping, and in Joe Biden's inflation, our weekly budget used to be $500 for 4. It's now $800. That's the $600 a month tax on my family, at least, for just groceries. But here's a man in the Dallas Morning News whose family had to throw away $200 worth of food. We're already struggling, he said. I want to give out a number here, and I want to give you some questions to respond, and that is this. How much food did you end up throwing out? What would you estimate the cost of that food? What was it? How much food did you lose? How much did you throw out, and what's the cost that you lost? I told you mine was at least I think about 530. I had to come up with an estimate yesterday when the adjuster was over, and mine was 530. And then, so how much food did you end up throwing out? What did you estimate the cost of that food, and how hard has it been for you financially? How hard has that been? And does your insurance cover the food loss? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Chime in right now, 800-288-WBAP. That's 800-288-9227. So this guy says he had to throw out $200 worth of food in Dallas. We're already struggling, he says, with the economic pressures that everyone's facing, right? The inflation and the costs for food, he said, for people that are experiencing poverty and already experiencing food insecurity. Oh, wait, this is a woman from the Salvation Army, and I like them a lot. I support them. I've volunteered for them over the years. With the economic pressures, they say at the Salvation Army, that everybody's facing right now, inflation, the rising cost of food that people are experiencing, poverty, or already experiencing this, lose everything due to power outage can be devastating to them. And that's what I saw in my grocery clerk. And then they also talk about, the people had coolers lined up on the floor, refrigerator bins emptied out in there. One guy says he knows some people have been communicating with insurance companies for possible reimbursement for their spoiled food, but any insurance deductibles would likely apply. Here's what I say. No! This is my alert to you and my thing to you. Call your darn insurance company, dude. Some people are, my neighbor, she's a little older. She's also got the same company I have. It's a really, really good company. That's why I've stayed with them for 27 years. I did some shopping around this year because it's so high. And the other ones were at the same or worse. So I kept them because they're just really good. And when the first time happened, when the ice apocalypse storm we had, the bad one, like 12 years ago or something, or 13 years ago, my power went out for like a week or two or three, and the food was reimbursed immediately. They're like, they just cut me a check and put it in my account, $500, boom. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't report to them, you won't know. And if you're afraid of your deductible, then take a $500 hit. What's your policy going to go up? You didn't do anything wrong. Maybe it'll go up, but it shouldn't. And if it does, for me, I report it because it's a loss, and it's not through my fault. So if it's going to go up, it's going to go up because of the area, not because of me. And if it does, it does. I just don't buy that crap. People are so afraid. My neighbor was afraid. I'm like, dude, what the heck? I said, you don't know if you don't know. I said, if you have a serious thing, it was that mindset of it's going to go up, it's going to go up, it's going to go up. Look, if it's my fault, I seriously think long and hard if I don't have to report it and just paying it out of my pocket. Let me tell you that right now. But if it's not my fault and the loss clearly seems to exceed over my insurance deductible, then I do call, especially when it's weather. That's weather. So I think it's a huge mistake by not calling, and I think so many people think they're going to have to pay the deductible, and I don't know what your policy is, but I'm going to tell you right now, there ain't no fee and there's no deductible for your food loss. Call your insurance company, man. Don't rip yourself off. You're paying an ungodly sum of money for it. Call them. And by the way, if you have a loved one that's renting, a son, a daughter, etc., dude, renter's insurance is not an option. Get it. Because when I had my issue, I was in a hotel for 3-4 weeks. I had a bad, 2-3 weeks. It was bad when that ice apocalypse happened 12 years ago or whatever it was, that ice storm. And then they paid for my food. They paid for my hotel. I had no issues. I did not lose money. You don't know if you don't ask. And you didn't cause the dang storm. So use your dang thing or ditch it and pretend you don't have a policy. Come on now. All right, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Now, coming up next to the Chris Crock Show, most voters want Trump and Biden drug tested before the debate. That debate's coming up. I'll get you the date, but it's this month. It's in probably 2-3 weeks. This is insane, guys. Most voters, an overwhelming vote amount, actually said today in a brand new poll that they want both of them drug tested before the debate. Trump said he's on. He wants to. And then Time Magazine, a brand new interview released, and Joe Biden has word salads, the wrong names of world leaders. There's no TV, there's no recording. It's just him talking. They probably recorded it for reference. And then Joe Biden officially attacks Trump as a convicted felon. There's so many things. And what are the never-Trumpers doing? Wait till you hear what they're doing now on the Republican side. It's profound. Next, on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Most voters want Trump and Biden drug tested before the debate this month. And much more. This from the Daily Mail, an exclusive poll. Trump says Biden was high as a kite during the energetic speech in March. There are medications that you can take to juice you that are okay, that a doctor may prescribe. I don't recall which ones, but I've read about it. We've talked about it. I've heard it on Fox and some other places. 70% of people, this is insane, you guys, 70% of the people want the men screen for pharmaceuticals when they face off June 27th. Let's do the math on that. June 27th is 3 weeks and 2 days from right now. That's crazy, right? 23 days. 70% of Americans, 7 out of 10 say they want drug tests. 18% say drug tests are not needed. 12% say they're not sure. 70%, guys, that's profound. Okay? Second of all, some polls from Fox News. Trump leads Biden on almost every key issue. Immigration, Trump up 18 over Biden. Economy, Trump up 15. Foreign policy, Trump over 7 above. Crime and guns, Trump up 7. That's incredible, isn't it? What else do we got here? Border and immigration. Trump leads, as I already mentioned. So this is amazing. Number 2, I was mentioning earlier, Biden raving on Monday, yesterday, at a fundraiser behind closed doors, saying how Trump's a convicted felon and how dangerous he is. But guess what? The numbers are looking solid still. Nothing's been moving up or down per se. But guess what Never-Trumpers are now doing? A poll on that talks about Never-Trumpers. Here we go. From America's, two things I got. America's most powerful pollster has some doubts, Nate Cohen. I'll share that with you actually coming up next. But the Never Trump people are now saying they're backing him. That was in, here it is. That was in one of my articles today. I think that was in Wall Street Journal, if I'm not mistaken. But the Never-Trumpers are saying they're going to now backing him because of the conviction that's rigged. I mean, we know that Mitt Romney, who publicly excoriates and disdains Trump, now says he wrote an editorial condemning this prosecution. And he also spoke out publicly, as well as Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski, who does not like him, and Susan Collins from Maine. Those are the milquetoast Republicans. Murkowski, I believe, voted to impeach and Trump, and as well as I think Collins did. And they both publicly stated, along with Mitt Romney, this is an outrage, it's lawfare, and it's wrong. I played you Dr. Phil yesterday. Actually, I didn't. I'm going to play you that next. You got to hear Dr. Phil, who's now here and launched his own media company. And what he says in one of his interviews, it's fantastic. I'm going to play that for you coming up next out of the box. So, and then a Time Magazine interview that just came out today from Biden. It's a word salad. Biden confuses Russia's Putin with China's Xi. Mr. President, won't your newly announced tariffs raise prices on American consumers? No, because here's the deal. Here's the difference. I made it clear to Putin. Putin? Okay. From the very beginning, we're not engaged. Trump wants a 10% tariff on everything. That'll raise the price of everything in America. He meant Xi, not Putin, the editor says. Oops. He fails just a newspaper interview or magazine. Biden tried to defend what happened in Afghanistan. Look, you're going to love this. Let me give you a number right now, though, to call in. Lines wide open. Chime in right now. Do you think we should drug test Biden and Trump before each debate? I vote 110% yes. Do you think Biden can pull off a minimally decent debate performance where he comes across as quote-unquote fine, where he actually exceeds the expectation of not able to talk and therefore is praised for just doing a decent job, like a not failing job by the media, and then it's over? And everything's dispelled about his senility. And do you think the Joe Biden-led conviction of Trump will end up backfiring on Biden? I sure do. Guess why? Hunter Biden's going to get off, is what I told you. I think it's going to be jury nullification. They're going to see Americans and see Hunter get off, and they're going to see Trump railroaded and then convicted. That's going to backfire when this plays out over the next 2-3 weeks. That's my strong prediction. What do you think about those three things? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Chime in right now at 800-288-9227. Do you support drug testing both Biden and Trump for each debate? Do you think Biden will pull off a minimally decent performance where he comes across as fine in the debate in a couple weeks? And do you think the Biden-led conviction of Trump will end up backfiring for Biden along with the Hunter one? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Now, Biden also said about Afghanistan, he blamed Trump for Afghanistan. Do you know that when he failed in Afghanistan intentionally and just pulled out and destroyed everything and made us look like a dog with his tail between his legs for the first time in forever, since since Vietnam and Saigon? He blames Trump, and he said, "We're planning even more." They said, defend what happened in Afghanistan. "We're planning even more. We are the world power. And what I inherited as a consequence of the mistake that we made in Afghanistan, this was not a loss in Afghanistan." Excuse my cold. But I think that, look, I believe I have a fundamentally different view than Trump on a range of things. Number one, I really believe that we had values-based as well as practice-based alliances around the world. And Trump, wanted to just abandon them. He says he's practical. One thing he's doing. See, Trump wanted to just abandon them all, and he left me like this. I got two more things, and Hugh Hewitt, the conservative talking head and radio guy, has a very wonderful tweet that I'm going to read with you. I shared it on my Twitter feed, and it really is spot on this. What do you think? Should they do a drug test for Biden and Trump before the debate? Do you think Biden could pull off a minimally decent performance where he comes across as fine? And do you think the Biden-led conviction of Trump and the most likely what do you call it, jury nullification, where Hunter's let off, you think that's going to backfire on Biden? I think it will. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Your call's next. Plus, this is from one of the most powerful pollsters, according to the Intelligencer, has some doubts about the polls. Next. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. Okay, so Joe Biden, 70% of voters want Biden and Trump to be drug tested before the debate, and I think that's fantastic. Isn't that great? Trump's been calling for it, and so the Daily Mail did a poll, and 70% said they want it. Would you support that? Do you think we should do that, drug test them before? They're older, both of them, so why not? Biden's really, pronounced compared to Trump because of... Look, oh my gosh, I'll tell you this. I heard a 104-year-old World War II veteran today, live from, or at least in an interview with Martha McCallum. She's doing her show live from Normandy in France, where there's countless lives of crosses and Jewish stars in unbelievably breathtaking, striking rows with perfection and great passion and care, as it should be. And she interviewed a 104-year-old World War II man. And I can't wait to share my experience with that with you on D-Day, but on the anniversary. It was so special to hear him. He had so many wonderful thoughts and passionate goosebumps and everything. But the key thing I thought about was Joe Biden is 81, and this 104-year-old guy talked more clearly and I don't want to say intelligently, but are intelligible or more intelligibly. I don't know if that's right the way you're saying it, but more clearly and well-spoken than Joe Biden does at 81. This 104-year-old veteran from World War II, God bless him. And that struck me. So that's one thing. Now, in this interview with Time Magazine that came out today, they did not edit out his errors and his, he already mislabeled Putin instead of Xi in the interview. And it was like, it was like a 4-sentence answer, maybe a 5-sentence answer on that. And then on another one here, the interviewer from Time Magazine, continuing on, says, okay, I'm going to do a couple of rapid fire here. He says, and by the way, I want to tell you this too. Our number is 800-288-WBAP. Do you think we should drug test Biden and Trump before each debate? Do you think Biden can pull off a minimally decent performance where he comes across as fine? And do you think the Biden-led conviction of Trump will actually end up backfiring on Biden? And I think the rigged prosecution of Trump, along with the conviction, along with Hunter Biden, I do think he's going to get off from jury nullification, where the jury knows he broke the law at the end, but they're like, we're going to be justice here. He's an addict. He's a kind of victim here. Let's just let him off. He's suffered enough. I think they're going to do that. And so I think those two combined actions are going to literally hurt Biden. His son won't be in jail, but he'll be losing more. I really do think that's going to happen. It'll be a perfect picture of Biden justice and Biden Justice Department in our current America. Oh, Dr. Phil. I want you to hear Dr. Phil. This is critical. He really is amazing. All right. Here he is.
5 minutes, Dr. Phil.
Well, actually, Bones, I'm ready to go.
Hi, and welcome to the Dr. Phil Show.
I'm sorry, who are you?
I'm Dr. Phil. Who are you?
Well, I'm Dr. Phil. This is my show.
I'm sorry, Dr. Phil? What'd you say?
I said this is my show, the Dr. Phil Show.
Anyways, it was really funny from Sesame Street. Now, here's the real Dr. Phil on his new show here in the Metroplex.
I wanted to share my final thought about this. This weaponization of our great institutions, the FBI, Justice Department, and individual states' similar institutions, will lead to one of two outcomes. One is more of the same from the other side, tit for tat. That may seem deserved, but it is not the right way forward for America. The other is what I call on you to demand from your politicians today, an end to this craziness in order to save the soul and sanity of our country. The Pope has actually given us the right approach in his new book when he says we are all brothers and sisters, and there must be no resentment among us. For any war to truly end, forgiveness is necessary.
All right. He's got a lot more, but I'll play part two in a little bit. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Biden said, okay, the interviewer says, okay, Biden, I'm going to do a rapid fire interview here. Another of your first acts as president under the banner of value-based leadership was to lift various punitive Trump-era immigration measures. Mr. President, that you and others said we were inhumane. In retrospect, do you think those humanitarian moves helped drive record illegal crossings? No! Were you wrong to lift those measures? If I was wrong, it's because I took too long. Ooh. Have you put some back in place? The green card issue has been reported. You're looking to reinstate and remain in Mexico. Are you looking at reinstating? No! All right, I got a huge comment. But first, let's go to Kevin in North Richland Hills. There's 3 lines open, by the way, 800-288-WBAP. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, sir. You're on 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Hey, bud.
Yep. I would like to know who's going to be doing the drug testing and the looking in the ears for probes, and also are there going to be a pool of people doing the drug testing?
Well, right now, go ahead.
No, and his earpieces, and I would not like to see any prompts them reading.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, he can't even answer questions without a note card. Are they going to be allowed to bring in note cards? Because that's usually totally verboten in these.
Well, he can't even read the prompter.
I'm going to tell you, though, be careful. Because one of the questions I have here is, if he pulls off, do you think Biden can pull off a minimally decent performance where he just walks across, barely gets across the line, and then the media says, "Oh, it was great," because he didn't do a massive error of any kind?
Well, I think during the debate, Trump will trash him. I'm not. You know where I'm going with that. Okay.
No, I don't.
Expound about that.
Because they don't go back. No, I'm serious. They don't go back and forth in this one. They're doing as Joe Biden begged for or demanded, minute and a half each, and they might be cutting your mic off at a minute and a half so that you can't even hear them, no matter what.
Well, I just don't want CNN to be the only ones that are there. They need to have Newsmax or someone else like that. He
won't do it, and Trump already agreed to whatever his conditions are to get a debate.
Okay, I'm not aware of that. Thank you for that information. But I hope you can delve into that because I've got other things going on.
Okay, I'm not sure what that means. You mean right now you got to go?
In a minute. But
okay, I just remember this. You don't let me go ever. I let you go. I'm a big deal around here.
Okay, I know.
Very big deal, sir.
You guys don't look like what your voice would sound like.
You don't have to tell anybody cool. They have 3 eyes and I'm morbidly obese. You don't have to tell anybody that, okay?
No, you don't have a third eye.
And I have a member growing on my forehead. Please don't tell people that, all right? Nobody knows that. Just between you and me.
Okay.
Now, you're the only one that sees. What about the Biden-led conviction of Trump, and then I believe Hunter's going to get off. So what if Hunter gets off and Biden and Joe, and Biden's and Trump's already been convicted? Do you think that's going to end up backfiring? Because right now we don't know, and it very well might just be left as a draw. But do you think that will end up working to Trump's favor if Hunter gets off?
I'm not sure, but you got to remember what they said about Hillary Clinton. She's a Teflon person, and nothing sticks to him. Okay. And
wait, you said Hillary Clinton or President Trump? Because I thought you said Hillary Clinton. She's a Teflon man.
Hillary.
She is a Teflon man. You're right. Go ahead.
So, anyway, it goes further than that. I don't think that they're going to be able to touch Hunter or Biden.
So will that end up to Trump's favor?
I think it will.
I would think if he gets off and Trump is obviously prosecuted and nailed, I think it's going to help Trump in that. It's going to be so over the top, and I think it's going to happen.
Well, I think you're correct, and so hopefully this will pan out, and hopefully our prayers will avail. And all
right, I'm going to let you go, but I appreciate you, Kevin. Great call. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Unfortunately, there's two things. Now, to finish this interview. Or actually, Hugh Hewitt said after the interview, "My gosh, Joe Biden gave an interview to Time of all people, and despite softball and after softball, he did a faceplant among his ramblings. Asked if Israel had committed war crimes, Joe replied, 'The answer is uncertain and has been investigated by the Israelis themselves.' What the heck does that mean? Disgraceful refusal to state the obvious. The conduct of the IDF has set a new standard in the concern for civilians in this war. The president should have at least remembered to state that." Okay? Now, the polls. Do not be misled, and unfortunately, this is an opinion piece in the Intelligencer today. Nate Cohen, who a lot of people say he's like the top pollster, he created the New York Times Siena College poll. And it's been uncannily accurate. It was in 2022, for example, they say. And unfortunately, towards the end of the interview, I'm going to share a few lines I highlighted that should cause us some concern and make us realize this is not in the bag by any far stretch of the means. It's going to be a barely win, one of those two. If he wins Virginia, by the way, he's tied at Virginia. I think it's The Hill that announced that today. I'm going to type the Virginia tied. Trump Biden. 2024. I believe it was The Hill. Yes, Trump is posing a real threat to Biden in Virginia. I couldn't recall which publication it was. So here we go. Roanoke College shows they're tied each head-to-head with 42% each. Isn't that astounding? All right, coming up next, I'm going to tell you what Governor Glenn Youngkin said about this. I'm going to read you what this pollster said that should really concern us, and I mean that about Trump in the polls right now. To think that we're going to eke ahead, or we already are ahead, is going to stay that way. Stand by for that. Next, we have 3 lines open at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you think we should drug test Biden and Trump before each debate, as 70% of Americans do today in a brand new poll? Do you think Biden could pull off a minimally decent performance in the debate where he comes across as fine and therefore wins, quote unquote, like last time 4 years ago? And then do you think the Biden-led conviction of Trump will end up backfiring on Biden, especially if Hunter's gets off, which I think he will? That's next. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227, and the rest of this very respected pollster who does the New York Times Siena poll, and he has some not so good news for us in his thoughts. Next. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Finishing off this pollster who does the New York Times Siena poll, I really don't feel like the campaign is underway yet. Voters who cast ballots the voters that cast ballots regularly and less well among some of the groups here that vote irregularly. Every poll seems to show this split of voters who cast regularly versus the ones who are irregular vote casters. How confident are you at this point that that's actually happening? About the irregulars maybe being a big deal and not making the difference this time. He says, in this particular case, as far as I'm aware, all the evidence suggests something like this story is real. That the polls are also including people who vote irregularly and therefore may not vote. In other words, there could be a mirage in this. But let me tell you why I disagree. When you have Dr. Phil speaking out about this, and he's not one to usually do something like that. He's been doing it lately, which is why he said he became his own independent, production company and distribution right here, at least just production in the Metroplex he came to, which is great. He's from here originally. But when you have people that are outraged, when you see the Never Trumpers that was reported today, the Never Trumpers are saying, the Republican Never Trumpers, or the kind of the Haley types, saying that they're going to vote for him now because of this bogus prosecution, and Mitt Romney speaking out, you're really going to motivate a lot of people who may have rather not voted for Trump and just sat it out. And I think the irregular voters, if they have any whiff of what's really going on, they're gonna show up for this, because this is not a normal thing going on. Even for those who despise or disdain Trump, it's not about him. It's about our country being destroyed and ruined by political prosecutions that are like we're Venezuela, Uganda, or Chile, or Venezuela I already mentioned, but you get the picture. In this particular case, as I'm aware, the pollster Nate Silver, not Nate Silver, but let's see what his name is. I want to make sure I get it right. Nate Cohen, who does the New York Times Siena poll. In this particular case, as I'm aware, all the evidence suggests something like this story may be real about overcounting people that are regular. We can debate about the degrees. We can debate about whether it'll last until November. The good polls for Trump. But I don't think there's very much room to disagree with the notion that Democrats are showing a lot of strength among the most regular and highly engaged voters, and Biden in particular is extremely weak among less engaged voters, in particular less. Okay, so that actually is more good. I'm sorry. Basically, he's saying the less engaged voter are not enthusiastic. That's good. Okay. Trump ones, I heard that might be the issue, but he's saying no. It's the Democrats with Biden, because the people that would vote for Biden, but they're like, B in Fort Worth, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hello, B.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to call about the drug testing, the candidates.
Yes.
I don't think that's a good idea.
What?
No.
I mean, at worst, they're going to find in Trump. At worst, they'll find in Trump some Benadryl or something. Why would you?
You're assuming that there's going to be a clean cut thing there, and that they're going to be truthful about it. And it's not a requirement, to be completely honest, to be president. I mean, come on, the cocaine's already in the White House.
Right. Okay, so you think they might somehow railroad the test? Well, I think that'd be really interesting. I think you'd probably have to do a blind thing where it's labeled,
that's
and they don't know.
Caller,
a comptroller
going to do the test.
Yeah, you have some kind of an independent comptroller that's not dependent on. And hey, could have what you do? You have each one Republican, each one Democrat. That are picked by each campaign to be there together. That would do it. I appreciate your call. I don't think it's going to happen because Joe will not let it happen because he's got to use something. And everybody pretty much realizes that, including people I'm sure that want him to win no matter what. I mean, you had, what's his name? Bill Maher said in the the audio I played for you yesterday, he goes, I'll vote for him if his head ends up being put in a blue jar of liquid. I'd vote for that over Trump. This election, but he said he's gonna effing lose. I played that for you yesterday.